ladies, welcome back. I'm really excited for this video today. I'm talking all about dating in your feminine energy and why you should date in your feminine energy and also how to date in your feminine energy. Last week was looking so much into the term rotational dating, so I just wanted to kind of make my own video on that and discuss how to effectively date and find the right partners in the midst of dating, especially in your feminine energy. So dating in your feminine energy, especially if you're dating for marriage, which if you're watching this, then dating for marriage is probably what we're going to be talking about. And dating in your feminine energy is going to be the most effective way and fastest way for you to find the right partner that meets the standards that you set for yourself. So to start off, I do want to talk about dating apps very slightly. I'm not going to discuss how to correctly date on dating apps because personally for me, I think dating apps are not the way to go. Everyone's different. Everyone, can find their match someplace. But for me, I have always attracted very wounded people on dating apps. But at the same time, I was a wounded person too. So if you are a type of healed individual, the only problem with dating apps is it's going to be filled with a lot of wounded people. And you're probably not gonna get as many matches, you're probably not gonna get as many love interests on dating apps because it's gonna be really hard to pick out the ones that are, on their healing journey or they're healed types of people and not ruling from their ego and they're at a conscious type of level. So the struggle with dating apps is that it gives everyone options. There's more options now than ever, not even just on dating apps, but on social media as well. So that kind of sets a tone for I have all these options and that means the guy I'm seeing is gonna have all these options too. So that what that kind of leads for us is we get this worry that we're gonna lose that person very quickly. We're like, oh my gosh, like if I don't cling on to this person now, if I don't claim them now, if I don't rush into a relationship with them now, or if I don't sleep with them immediately, then they're gonna get bored because again, in this generation, this day and age, we scroll and we scroll and we get bored after 10 seconds, 30 seconds, and we're on to the next thing very quickly. A lot of people are going to cling to their partner, especially women. We cling to that one guy that is treating us well before even really understanding or getting to know who he really is. We see people for what they bring surface level, for what they bring in the beginning, instead of actively dating, going on dates for an extended period of time, because we have this fear when we see all these options that they're going to slip right out from our fingers. When the truth is, the person you're going to be with for the rest of your life won't slip away that easy. We tend to, instead of take time to understand the person that we're interested in or the people that we're interested in, the people we want to date, we tend to fixate on one person. And a lot of times we rush into relationships without understanding them or getting to know them properly, and we wind up giving them our all. Time, we spend money on them, we give a lot of our energy to them, and a lot of the times if you rush into something, it is just another piece of trauma that you're gonna have to later unpack and unlearn, and a toxic pattern that you're gonna have to kind of heal yourself, instead of just taking the time to go slow with multiple people that you're dating or the one person that you're dating and just really understand them so you can understand, okay, what kind of relationship am I going to have with this person? Do my values align with them? And how would this turn out for me in the long run? And a lot of the times, why we give our all to someone and why we want to just kind of smother them and obsess over them really early on, it actually comes from a place of insecurity for a lot of people. We want to get reassurance and validation from them, and usually the only way to do that in a very quick period of time, because a lot of people don't, again, they're impatient, they don't want to play the long game. So the only way to get that in a short period of time is by showing them everything you can do for them, which is a very masculine trait, right? A lot of women, we are showing, we have our own job and we have our own career and we can pay for this and we can pay for that and we're independent and we don't actually need you, but we want you for who you are, when we don't really understand who they are yet and just the beginning of dating. So we do all of that because we don't want the person to escape us. And then that leads to texting them all the time. That leads to putting all our eggs in one basket and slowly obsessing over one another instead of curating something that's more organic and starts off more as a friendship instead of something that is immediately intimate and turns into a relationship in just a few weeks. When we start to obsess over someone very quickly and we start to give our all to them, like I said, time, money, energy, especially intimacy, you start to rely on that person's potential. Because instead of taking the time to date these people or this person and understand them, you rushed into something without fully knowing them. So then as time goes on and you're in this committed relationship, and you don't want to hurt yourself or hurt another person, you are relying on that person's potential. And we all know the dangers of potential. You're waiting for this person to change because you want your partner a certain way. You want your man to be a certain way, when it's really your fault that you didn't stick or even understand your own standards in a man, and you decided to rush into something. And then you have a man that, does not want to man up for you, or does not want to change for you, or does not want to heal his past for you. So then you're both kind of stuck in your masculine energy. You need that polarity. You can't have two, super masculine people. One of them just has to have a more dominating feminine energy. And it could be the man that's feminine and the woman that's masculine. But if you are a woman that does not want to be masculine anymore, then that's not going to work for you. And it's going to cause you to argue, it's going to cause fights, it's going to cause a lot of trauma and wounds in that relationship. The other issue with staying with someone that you didn't really wind up getting to know, or staying with someone for their potential and because you gave your all, is you become blind to red flags, and you wear those rose-colored glasses all the time, and you don't want to acknowledge the toxicity that's in your relationship. Because what starts to happen is you think of everything that you did for them, you think of everything that you gave, and you don't want to give up on it because you don't want to leave, and you're thinking this was all for nothing, it was a waste of time. And then you kind of start to get into that self-doubt and self-loathing that no one wants to feel, and you start to feel rejected, especially when we decide to be intimate with someone, because that is the most vulnerable act of being in a relationship. To even begin dating and enter the dating world and trying to find your perfect match, trying to find your partner, and dating multiple people at once, you have to understand there's no more room for settling. We're not settling anymore. We are going to understand our own self-worth and value, know what standards we have, and we are going to start dating from there. I'm going to talk about why we should be mindful of who we date. So first we discussed, how we usually wrap ourselves up in the wrong person and how dating can become toxic. Now I'm going to explain to you why that wrong person can actually affect you in the long run. As women, we hold a lot of the power in the dating world. Men are meant to pursue us. We are not meant to chase. Because a lot of the times when a man says that he wants a woman to pursue her and he wants a woman to chase him, it's coming from a place of insecurity. A man who knows who he is knows what he wants, and he knows the type of woman that he's looking for. If he doesn't know the type of woman that he's looking for, and that's why he needs all these women to chase him, then he's insecure and he isn't at his total level of consciousness. He's mostly ruling from his ego. And that's why I say that women hold the power in dating, because a man can chase you and you can either acknowledge that you want to go on a date with him if he meets your standards, or you can, respectfully decline, or after a few dates, you can see that this wasn't a match. And a lot of men that want to be chased, and a lot of them that believe that they're the prize in the relationship, they also lack the ability to provide. Because if a man is not actively chasing for the woman that he wants to make his wife, he probably isn't going to chase for the type of job that he wants. He's not going to chase, the type of money that he wants for his future family. He's not really thinking of that type of goal mindset. His priorities aren't in all the right places if he feels like he shouldn't have to chase or pursue someone to be with. And this is why I kind of want to also discuss rotational dating. To me, I don't really get the term rotational dating. I think it's used to emphasize dating until you have a ring on your finger, which I totally get. And it's also emphasized to not do the whole boyfriend and girlfriend thing. But I just see rotational dating as regular dating before there was social media. When you were in your 20s, back then, you were actively dating. That's just what it was. You were seeing multiple people, you were seeing which one fits your lifestyle and which one you get along with and which one you can have a future with. And that was that. That's always what dating has been to me, where it's you see multiple people. And so when we talk about rotational dating and dating multiple people at once, we're talking about to date, not to mate. So just because you're dating a lot of people, that does not mean you are physically active with them and you're intimate with them. That is not the best idea, because again, when you give your all and you're physically intimate with someone, that's when the rose-colored glasses come on and you start to see them for their potential and you're not really paying attention to who they are in the present moment. I also want to talk about the dangers of rushing into said relationships, or only dating one person, putting your eggs all in one basket and really rushing into it instead of taking your time. So a lot of the time, people will be dating and maybe they'll sleep with multiple people, or they'll just keep sleeping with one person and it's not serious, they're not exclusive, they're not engaged, whatever that person wants at the end, whatever their standard is. If they don't listen to their standard and they begin to give their all and become intimate with this person, some people think, oh, okay, like it was just a one-time thing, like it's not gonna get that serious. People who partake in hookup culture also don't understand the actual science between intimacy. So a lot of the times when women especially partake in hookup culture, what we do is we kind of train ourselves to not attach the emotion to that person. Doing it for the pleasure of it, and there's no strings attached, you're not feeling anything towards this person, you don't love them, sometimes you don't care for them. But the issue with that is, even though you in your heart are blocking whatever emotions you don't want to feel towards this person, it ultimately doesn't matter, because when you're intimate with someone, you are releasing the chemicals in your brain of what love, of what care, of what that physical pleasure and intimacy feels like. So as you're laying down with this person and you're being intimate with them, your brain is wired to link this person to, they give me pleasure, they give me lust or love, they give you those the dopamine, the oxytocin, all those feelings. So then it will affect the types of people that you choose in the long run. Let's say it doesn't work out with that person, and then it also makes pleasure and intimacy harder with other people as well, because you're training your body to not listen to the emotion that's attached to the pleasure that you're receiving. And instead, now anytime that those chemicals are released from your brain with a person, let's say that you really do love, that you really do like, it's going to link back to, you can't really open yourself up and fully express the emotions that your heart is really feeling. You also have to be careful with the types of person that you are laying with, because soul ties are very real. Not everyone believes in them, not everyone thinks they're true. But if you've ever experienced physical intimacy with someone that maybe had a lot of trauma or had a lot of demons and did not do the inner work to heal them, a lot of the times your body will reject them. The universe, or for me, God is going to put blocks in your life for you not to be able to see them or not to be able to be with them. You quite literally get signs from yourself or from the outside world as to why you should not be intimate with them. Because a lot of the times when we create these soul ties with people, they have also slept with other people. And so then the other woman that he may have slept with, or multiple women that he may have slept with, if those women were not healed types of women, which they usually aren't if they're with someone toxic like him, if they're not healed types of women and they are also burdening him with this trauma and all these demons inside them, and he's gonna have his own demons and trauma. He's gonna have all those other women and their trauma, and then you're gonna lay down with him, and it's like, as women, it's almost as if we are harvesting all that other energy. We're harvesting the energy from him and from all these other women that he's been with, that is all this unhealed trauma that we have no way of fixing. And it gets harder and harder to heal, because these are wounds and burdens that are not from you or were meant for you. Intimacy leads to pregnancy. And there is a lot of children that do not have their father. There's a lot of fathers who abandon their children. This most of the time results in the mother being in survival mode. I mean, even if she has a lot of support, even if she, may have a good amount of income, right? That's always going to be on her heart and on her mind, how there's only one parent there for her child. This makes it harder also to understand generational trauma and how to savor your kid from that type of generational trauma. It's very important for people now to understand, from generations before, what we are carrying. But if you have a man that abandons you or does not want to be there and be the father for the child that he made, all that generational trauma that he has, it's going to link to that child. It's also dangerous about pregnancy without having the father around, or maybe he is around once in a while, is because babies or fetuses in the womb are actually extremely intelligent. By 2 months old in the womb, a fetus can actually feel the stress of the mother, and because her cortisol levels spike. And it's been scientifically proven that mothers who are more stressed during their pregnancy, they eventually lead to have kids that are more anxious. And also at 6 months old, the fetus in the womb can also recognize the mother's voice. That's why it's so familiar and it bonds to the mother so easily. That's part of it. Of course, you know, the baby grew inside her, but that's a very important aspect as well. And if you have a man that isn't continuously there for you while you're pregnant and, you know, actively listening and talking to the baby while it can understand what the outside world is, and if the father isn't present, it's going to be harder for the baby at that newborn stage to properly connect with the father. We are going to get into how to be in your feminine energy. So the first thing that you need to do is obviously inner work. The importance of inner work in dating is to build up your self-esteem and to understand your own self-worth and your value when it comes to dating. If you are a traumatized and unhealed person, you're most likely going to be living out of survival mode, and that's the lowest frequency that you can radiate at. So then you're going to attract other types of people that are in survival mode, that are traumatized and haven't done the inner work and healing. You're going to start dating in your wounded feminine, which I have a video on signs of wounded feminine energy, and I can link it up here and it'll be in the description as well. So a lot of the times, if you don't practice self-love and understand your value and self-worth, and you are insecure, like I said before, you're going to attract those same types of people. Remember, we're a reflection of ourselves in the people that we're around and who we date. And a lot of the times, women who are insecure tend to be a lot more desperate, and they tend to settle a lot easier for the bare minimum, or for men that don't meet the standards that they really, really want. They're kind of just like, oh, okay, like this person does these little things for me and I want to make it work. When eventually, again, you are going to fall into that trap, and you're going to realize, oh, this person isn't actually meeting these standards. Let me try to fix him up. And you want to build him up. You fall for his potential. You're not truly loving that person for where they're at in that moment. And if you're insecure and you're attracting insecure men, the desperation is going to be there for you, and you're going to wind up chasing, like we said before, because insecure men don't chase. When a man is insecure in his ability to protect, to provide, and to pursue, he's going to settle for a woman who's desperate and doesn't know her worth or value. And men can sense those types of women. Men can sense an insecure woman, and he'll know that a woman that is insecure will take whatever attention that she can get, and he knows that in her eyes he's the prize, because she doesn't understand what kind of man she really can have. Now we can get to evaluating your standards. And understanding your standards and ensuring that you're meeting them also makes you more attractive, literally, not just physically, but it's easier for you to attract your type of dream man. You become magnetic to those people who also practice self-love, who also know their value and their worth. Men that aren't afraid of protecting and providing, are secure in themselves. When you create your standards, you have to remember you're not thinking of your future partner and their needs. You are simply looking out for you. I even told my friends this, you can create your standards as specific as you want. You know, if you want to go for looks, if you want to talk about what job he has, if you want to talk about what income he has, if you want to be very specific in that way, that's great. But it's also important to put in the values that he has. It's the values that a man practices. Does he enjoy providing? Does he want to protect you and lead in the relationship? Is that, you know, what you're looking for? Don't try to limit yourself to meeting someone and they're not the height that you put down, or they don't have the career that you wanted in a future husband. It's important to feel the energy of that person, and if their values align, there's no harm in going out with them and seeing where things could go. And lastly, we're going to talk about implementing boundaries in dating. And this is why it's so important to really work on healing and inner work and having that value within yourself before dating, because boundaries are very easy for people to cross if you let them. Especially if you're dating multiple people and you see the value in each of them, and maybe you like multiple of them and you kind of let them get away with different things. Let's say a man you're seeing ghost you, and you tell yourself, my boundary is that I do not chase, and if you decide not to keep pursuing me, I will not pursue you, I will back off. Let's say you really like this guy. If you don't listen to your own boundary and you start chasing him, then soon that's going to be a reality for the rest of the relationship most of the time, and he's going to get comfortable seeing how badly you want him. Setting and keeping your boundaries keeps you safe, and it also shows the men that you're dating that you have self-respect. Respect and self-respect is really big for men, and a lot of the times if they see that you lack self-respect, they actually start to like you less because you're coming off as desperate. And if they're actively dating for marriage and long-term as well, that's not a wifely or motherly trait that a man wants in his future. And a lot of the times men tend to seek women who don't have boundaries or have very weak boundaries, and they usually just use them for a temporary gain or for an ego boost and things like that. Boundaries also take into account, it's for discipline. If you have the discipline to listen to your boundaries and stick by them and not let just any man cross them, that's another desirable trait for both people. We both want a partner that has discipline. It shows that you trust yourself, you have the ability to stick to your word, and you also respect your partner's boundaries and that you are going to have their needs met along with yours. Okay, ladies, that's the end of my video today. I really hope that was helpful, and it was very, very fun to make. This video, I think, is gonna turn out a bit long. I was just on a roll writing all this. I was doing a lot of research on it, and it was just so fun to make. Of course, as always, leave any comments or questions down below, and I will see you ladies next week. Bye.